Welcome to another installment of History at Home with the Boston Tea Party Ships and Museum. My name is Jillian, and I'm on the creative team here at the museum. We are anxiously awaiting our chance to reopen our doors, but while we wait, I'd like to take a moment to share with you some of our exhibits.
The summer is an amazing time to be in Boston. It's when we open up our outdoor back deck area with a variety of different hands-on exhibits for museum goers. In a recent update of this space, we've added about a 20-foot extension of deck space. Here, you'll find more text panels about the tea crisis, a map of the 18th century Boston area, stories of the participants of the destruction of the tea, and more information about our ships and how they were built.
The tea was not the only item on board when the ships arrived here in Boston. The Dartmouth, which arrived here on November 28, 1773, actually carried another very special item on board.
Poems on Various Subjects, Religious and Moral by Phillis Wheatley.
We are very fortunate to have a reproduction copy of this book here. Many thanks to the Massachusetts Historical Society. This book was compiled and put together to be published in 1773, making Phillis Wheatley the first enslaved African to be published in North America. Miss Wheatley's book of poems sailed to Boston from London, right next to the tea on board the Dartmouth. Phillis Wheatley's life was considered atypical for someone who suffered under enslavement. Many people who were enslaved were not allowed to read and write, and would have been punished if found doing so. Miss Wheatley, on the other hand, was taught to read and write by her masters, and even encouraged to do so.
In 1761, upon arriving in Boston aboard the ship for which she is named, 7 or 8-year-old Phillis was purchased by the Wheatley family, where she was made to be a domestic servant for Susanna Wheatley. After realizing Phillis's ability to learn, her masters educated her. Before long, she was writing poetry of her own. She wrote over 30 poems for her first book. Despite the intellect Phillis clearly demonstrated through her powerful words, the colonists were unwilling to support the writings of an enslaved African woman. Reaching out to contacts all the way in London, Phillis's master finally found a countess who was willing to publish Phillis's book. Phillis sailed to England to meet the countess and wait for the publication of her book of poetry. It is on her return voyage from England in October of 1773 that she writes, "I expect my books, which are published in London by Captain Hall, who will be here, I believe, in 8 or 10 days. I beg the favor that you would honor the enclosed proposals, and use your interest with gentlemen and ladies of your acquaintance to subscribe also. For the more subscribers there are, the more it will be for my advantage, as I am to have half the sale of the books. This I am the more solicitous for, as I am now upon my own footing, and whatever I get by this is entirely mine, and it is the chief I have to depend upon."
Phillis Wheatley was manumitted upon her arrival in Boston, which was only a few days before the arrival of her books and the tea. Now, for more information about Phillis Wheatley, there are many resources of which you could use, including the Massachusetts Historical Society. They have an original copy of Phillis's book, Poems on Various Subjects, Religious and Moral. Miss Wheatley was also a regular worshiper at Old South Meeting House, where you'll find a statue of her as well as an exhibit on her life. Plus, you can also find a statue of Phillis Wheatley on the Boston Women's Memorial, which is on Commonwealth Avenue in Boston. I encourage you to learn more about this amazing woman and read her book of poetry. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope to see you as soon as our museum is open again. For more information on that, you can visit our website at www.bostonteapartyship.com. Until next time, thanks again! Huzzah!